Welcome to this episode of the ElectroNeek podcast, where we bring you the latest information in RPA and tell you how you can build, sell, and support your automation service business. So let's jump right into it.
Okay, so let's go ahead. We have a new topic and a new speaker for you guys today. So we're going to talk about challenges and how to overcome those challenges to become successful in RPA service business or in your automation service business. Okay, so from challenges to success. Your host for today is me, Thiago Carlucci. I'm head of global campaign marketing, and we have our key speaker, Jason Curry.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate that you're here with us.
Thiago, with that smile, we all want to look at you. But as Thiago said, I am Jason Connery. I'm happy to jump on this call and discuss some of the things that I've garnered, some of the knowledge that I've garnered through my, I guess, about 5-6 years now in the automation space. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of small startups, a lot of MSPs, and I've also had the privilege of running a pretty large team at Microsoft. So I've kind of covered the gamut of all the automation scenarios that one might run into. So again, happy to provide the knowledge that I've garnered during this time.
Awesome. Perfect. 10 challenges. So here we go. What are we going to talk about today, guys? Limited understanding of RPA technology. These are challenges that MSPs and IT service providers have to overcome to become successful. Okay. So limited understanding of the RPA technology, what it does, what it is, and what it does. Identifying and evaluating opportunities. Talent acquisition. This is always a topic that comes up. Technology infrastructure, security and compliance, growth and scalability, business models, client education, marketing and sales, and also managing and monitoring RPA solutions. Okay. So let's jump right into them, starting with the first one, limited understanding of RPA technology. So Jason, here we have lots of MSPs and IT service providers that are actually new to this space, and they want to start out their automation business, and they're still trying to understand and wrap their heads around what is RPA, what RPA does, and what is the potential that they will have or that they will bring to their end customers. So tell us a little bit about how MSPs and IT service providers can have a better grasp on this, on what this is.
Yeah, great. And that's a great point. And this is probably one of the biggest challenges that I see, not just MSPs, but end users facing on a daily basis. Most people know, hey, we want to automate. We know automation is big. We know that AI is big right now. It's at the forefront of everybody's talk track. But how do we actually leverage this? What does it all really mean? How do we make sense of all of it? And that's one of the great things about a partnership with ElectroNeek is at the onset of the engagement, our team here are designed to work with you. You know, our plan of action is to work with you to uncover not only processes internally and educate you on how you would automate those and the benefits of the automation, the business case that those can provide, what it takes to automate those processes. Not, starting internally, let us automate those. Our team will teach your team how to automate these, how to build the processes using our platform. And in doing so, your organization has a firm understanding of what the processes look like and what the outcomes and the ultimate goal for the business is being attained. Once you have that understanding, it's much easier to present this to your clients. But again, part of our engagement model is educating you through the process from the onset. Hey, this is what automation is. This is how you can benefit from the use of automation. This is how your clients are going to benefit. But more importantly, for MSPs looking to monetize this, this is how you're going to create recurring, predictable revenue streams with this. And then once you are partnered with us, our team doesn't just leave you there. You're not just discarded at that point. We have a team of dedicated customer success managers that work hand in hand with you to help uncover further use cases, to help deliver this material to your clients. So again, the partnership here is designed to mitigate a lot of that. We don't expect you to understand everything. To tout ourselves, we are the experts on automation. We are here to educate you. We don't expect you to be. We expect you to be able to learn and be receptive to what we can teach. On top of that, we have a number of resources. We have our forum where you can ask questions from your peers that they can give you answers to that. Hey, what are you automating? How are you using this? And then a number of other resources included in one of our business hubs that allow you to actually take this to market, actually have use cases pre-built for you in our recipes. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've been engaged with this, you have seen that. And what the recipes are pre-built automations that give you a place to start. So you don't have to go find these on your own.
Awesome.
And I think our most successful MSPs are really leveraging those. And again, they're just pre-built. We can have discussions about the use cases and the result that these recipes have provided. But that's the easiest way to get started if you're unsure on which processes to automate.
Perfect. Awesome. Moving on. So identifying and evaluating opportunities. This has to do a lot with identifying opportunities inside those clients, right? What to automate, how to identify processes that are eligible to be automated, and eventually time to value, right? What are those processes that will bring the quickest time to value? Tell us a little bit, Jason, what have you found in the market working with us and with our partners?
For me, I've approached this with a pretty simple equation of, okay, let's look at the process that we're automating. And for us to identify and evaluate those processes or those opportunities, I would, again, leverage those recipes that I spoke about before. Those are pre-built automations ready for you to take to market to your clients as we speak with minimal modification. The great thing about those is we could say, hey, this process that you're going to automate, let's say we're going to automate an accounts receivable process. We can look at how many hours this is going to save an organization, and it's easy to apply a monetary value to that. Great. You have 10 people in your organization now doing accounts payable and accounts receivable. We are going to successfully automate 30% of that work. So if you think about that, 10 people working 40 hours with 400 hours a week, we're going to automate 30% of that. So that's 120 hours returned back to the company. At an average burden rate, you can do your math there. So it's a simple equation of finding out what we're going to automate, which percentage of that task we're going to automate, and what hourly rate is applied to that with their current staff. Easy to really find the value there. But again, to evaluate the opportunities, if I'm starting my own MSP from scratch with minimal understanding of RPA technology, I'm going to leverage the community that we've built here at ElectroNeek, use our forum to ask questions. Hey, what are you seeing? How are you using this? Talk to our team, not only the account executives here at our team, the RPA experts here, but find those opportunities and leverage those recipes, because that's the easiest way for quick wins, or what we would call low-hanging fruit. Let's go after this. Let's go after these things we know are proven use cases in most industries. A lot of times I have clients ask me, hey, I work in healthcare. I work a lot in manufacturing. I work a lot in, hospitality, whatever that specific industry would be. And there are wonderful use cases specific to all of those. But the easiest way to evaluate opportunity is look at things that every organization does. There's not an organization in the world that doesn't pay bills. Well, if they don't pay bills, they're not around for long, right? So they pay bills. They pay their employees. They may have to buy supplies. So everyone has accounts payable, accounts receivable. Everyone has an HR department or some sort of HR function. So we automate those things that are agnostic to the industry. That's how we capture a quick ROI on this. Let's go after things that every single company does. Let's perfect those. Then let's specialize. We know in healthcare, we can do claims management. We know in manufacturing, we can do a lot of inventory control, processing, supply chain management. But first, let's identify those opportunities that, again, are agnostic to the industry, something that every single company does. That's how I would start. And again, looking at the recipes that we have pre-built for you, leveraging the ElectroNeek community, and really participating in a lot of that. And the more active you are in asking questions, the more active other people are in giving answers, the more active they are in answering questions as well. And we've built that community for an open forum for discussion amongst all of our partners.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I like the approach of the recipes because, as you say, right, that the low-hanging fruit, we have the recipes, you match that opportunity with the pre-built bots that we have in there. It's a win-win situation, quick time to value. Perfect.
Correct. Awesome. And we can also help you apply some numbers around those. That's one of the great benefits of working with us is we've proven these use cases. We know that they work, and we can help you apply some numbers around them so you can do your own financial planning with them.
Absolutely. All right. So third challenge that we have here, talent acquisition. This is something that frequently comes up. How do I find talent for RPA implementation, right?
Well,
yeah.
So first and foremost, Tiago, this is going to be a question for everyone that comes up with just about every client that we have. Now, it's very salient to point out that our functionality is designed to be drag and drop, low to no code. So we tout that we don't require a pro-level developer. Now, I'll pause there because we did not remove any tools that a pro-level developer would have. So if you've got a pro-level developer on your staff now, we didn't dumb this down too much. They can insert code as they want to. Most of it's done in Python. So we can insert any of that in there for more complex automations. But for the basic automations, Again, it takes someone, what we would call a citizen developer, or someone, at least with some a basic technical acumen. I have probably a mid-level technical acumen, but I'm able to write automations on this platform because it is designed as drag and drop with most functions built in for you. Hey, I needed to open an email. That function is already designed for you. Again, this will beckon back to the recipes. Those are already done. Those are actually automated files built for you to drop into the platform. Hey, the actual, what we call a Neek file is our automation file. That's the process created automation step by step. You can slide that right in and it works today as is right now, ready to go. All you may have to do, well, you will have to point it where you need it to be. Keep in mind, more often than not, the robot or virtual worker is interacting with, most likely, a web application, a SaaS application. It goes in and logs into that. So again, very simple to do. But that's going to be the first thing that mitigates that whole talent acquisition. You don't necessarily need a pro-level developer. Now, I will stop and note that, in today's tech landscape, access to skilled labor is a little bit easier than it used to be. A year ago, finding developers was a lot harder than it is now, given the current landscape. There are a lot of number of developers out there. We have had MSPs be successful, highly successful MSPs that have used leverage contract developers that are out there on a number of different websites, a number of different sources where you can hire, a temp or bring them on permanently. But it requires minimal skill. Most pro-level developers can pick this up in a day. I've seen it happen. That's not salesmanship on my part. Add to that as part of the engagement, as I spoke about earlier, is we're going to teach your team how to use this. So if you bring someone to us with at least a base level technical understanding, our team will teach them how to do it, teach them how to build their first bot. We take this real teach a man to fish approach to things. We show you how to do it. We build the first one with you, hand in hand. And then our support team is world class. They are there, depending on your partnership tier with us, they're there with you to work hand in hand to teach you continuously, perpetually teaching you how to use this, as is your customer success manager. Awesome. So that's how we're mitigating that access to talent. Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, next one, technology infrastructure. So this has a lot to do with how do you run your bots, where you will run them, where you will structure your orchestrator, your running softwares, and so on. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, this one's great because a lot of MSPs ask this because I've been in the technology space. I actually sold infrastructure software for about 5 years. That's how I got my start in IT sales. But gone are the days where a lot of infrastructure is needed. We're not building massive data centers as an individual company anymore. Gone are the big data closets that used to be in every tech company. Most everything is now moved to the cloud, as we have with this. Now we have separate components of this. Our Studio Pro, which is where all the creation of the bots takes place, that is the only thing typically locally installed on an MSP system. You're going to do all of that from a personal machine. Everything is created. Now, our orchestration layer, which provides any of the governance, provides most of the scheduling, scalability of the bots and management of your particular, individual clients. All of that is done in a cloud-based orchestrator. So your machine talks to that cloud, you organize everything, you have full visibility into every bot that you manage, every bot that's then assigned to your end users, as well as the activities that they're doing. You're able to track that and have reporting on what they're doing, how they're running, how much time they're spent running, how many processes they've completed for the day, and if there's any errors, all of that is handled there as well. So minimal infrastructure, and then all the execution of work takes place on your client's systems. So just as they would now. So we're not adding an extra burden on compute power, memory, any of that. The same exact systems they're using now are used to complete the processes as they are today. So the bot runner is assigned in their, on their infrastructure on one of their machines. It completes the work just as a traditional worker would do. So we're not looking at any advanced workload. We're not looking at any increased workload. It still requires the same amount of compute, same amount of memory that we were using before. So no additional infrastructure is really needed to support this. Now, in some instances, we have MSPs who have chosen to partner with us and then handle everything, do all the completed work on their side as well. And that would be the only time it requires a little bit more. But keep in mind, the robot is only it's only as data intensive or compute intensive as a typical worker would be. So again, if a human does it, the machine does it exactly the same way. Added benefit is if you look at an HR process that typically takes 4 hours to execute, your system resources are being tied up for those 4 hours to complete that process. The robot can do it in 45 seconds. So the burden on your infrastructure, on your compute power, on your memory is minimized because it's only doing it in 45 seconds. It's not taking the full 4 hours. So that's important to keep in mind as you allocate resources in your infrastructure for this.
Awesome. All right, next one, security and compliance. So one thing that comes up quite often is like government bids and the necessity to have to comply with certain security measures. Tell us a little bit how we are structured around this and what it looks like.
And that really calls back to the previous point of the infrastructure and how things are architectured here. As an MSP, the onus of security won't necessarily fall on you for these things because all of the data transmitted is still on the end user systems. We store no data at rest. So as long as their process is compliant, as long as the systems they're using are compliant, 90% of the time it falls into the compliance and everything is still met. It is still secured. Caveat being federal clients, FedRAMP is the exception there because anything that touches any cloud has to be FedRAMP with them. I worked in that space for several years as well, so I've got a fairly clear understanding of how that works. But that would be the exception. Don't let that deter you. Because if you do have federal clients, keep in mind, not everything they do are government clients of any sort. Not everything they do has to be done in a FedRAMP compliance. Even your hospital companies, not everything they do, or your healthcare companies, not everything they do has to be HIPAA compliant. Only time you need the HIPAA compliance is when you're actually moving records, either financial from the hospital or patient records. Any of their bookkeeping can be done on another server that doesn't have to be HIPAA compliant. So don't let security and compliance deter you as far as, HIPAA or CPI or, FedRAMP, whatever. Don't let those things to deter you from that. Now, as well, our orchestration allows you to create governance around these things. You can create, as far as security protocols, access rights, password storage, all of that is secure. So that is also a question we get around there as well. So the security component is handled by, at the orchestration layer when you actually design and build these. Access controls are granted at that point. One of the best things about this as well is, traditional workers may leave their machine at work and have their password and their login on a Post-it note on their screen because they forget it all the time. The robot will never do that. It does not write its password down anywhere. It won't tell anyone its password. It doesn't take days off, so it doesn't have to have someone fill in for it. Say, oh, here's my login to take care of my work for the day. The robot never takes a day off. It can always complete that work. So again, security and compliance risk are again mitigated by how we've designed the system. But a lot of times the compliance side of it isn't an issue because we're still completing work, for these organizations that may not have to be compliant or that, it still falls within compliance protocols.
Awesome. All right, growth and scalability. So here we talk a little bit about what is necessary and how we can structure or how we can help MSPs and IT service providers structure themselves to grow and to scale their automation service business.
Yeah, our tools are designed for that. That's a lot of what the orchestration, our orchestrator does. It allows you to see this. It allows you to lack of a better term, orchestrate how you want the work to happen. And what we mean by orchestration is how you're planning things, how you're handling data, where you're storing the data, where your clients are storing it. But most of that, again, is determined by your end users as well. Wherever their data is now stored, that's where it's going to stay. So this becomes extensible. We're not actually having to hold any of that data, so it doesn't require any sort of, you're as the MSP, you're not required to touch it. You're not required to allocate this. You don't have to call upon like a central data repository or any of that. All of that is still handled on the client side, but again, our team is here to help you work with scalable options. How do we actually build this? If there are any parameters that we have to worry about for these large volumes of data, we can work with your team hand in hand to set those up for you. Our team of engineers will show you how to do that if you have to. A lot of times, especially if we're looking at something, where we're processing thousands of documents a day, that could become data intensive for us or storage intensive. And so we can work with you and your team and show you how best to allocate storage for rapid execution of the work.
And I guess here we can also touch upon the licensing model that we offer, Jason, in the sense that there is no additional licenses per bot. So scalability and growth are very,
Yeah. So for that scalability, that's one of the greatest features to ElectroNeek, and that's one of the things that drew me here when I looked at this. Aside from just the pure business model of, hey, how do we work with MSPs to deliver automation to underserved part of the tech community or business community, being those small and medium businesses or mid-market clients. For me, that was very appealing. I've worked with these massive marquee logos, the Johnson and Johnsons, Coca-Cola, any of these big companies. I've worked with them, but the smaller guys weren't getting the real benefit of it, and that's who needs this the most. Coca-Cola could throw $1 billion at a project. My buddy who's a realtor in town can't do that. He's got 10 people in his firm. He doesn't have $1 billion to throw it, but he deserves automation just like Coca-Cola does. So that really drew me here. And then on top of that, the biggest thing being that it's unlimited bots. How much easier is it to scale when you don't have to worry about, do I need to buy more bot licenses? Do I have to go into my resource planning tool and look at, great, I'm going to have to do this. I know I'm going to need 20 more bots in a month to deliver to my clients. I'm going to need 100 more in 3 months. You don't have to plan any of that. The scalability becomes pretty easy, pretty rapid, or pretty predictable, because you just have this unlimited number of bots. You don't have to come back to us and say, hey, I need 10 more. What am I going to sell these to my clients for? Do I plan for this? Once you've partnered with us, again, if you want to run 1,000 bots to to an organization, you can. If you want to sign an organization with just one bot with a heavy workload, you can.
Awesome. Perfect. Sounds good. And then here we go with business models, right? This speaks a lot about project-based as opposed to subscription-based and long-term recurring revenue. And one of the things that we do, we actually enable MSPs to have a pretty profitable subscription-based business. So how do we see that, Jason?
Yeah, and this is one of the great things that's really separating us and our business model from a lot of others right now. Because let's face it, for the last 10 years, the spending in IT has been unbridled. And I'm sure as an MSPs, you've seen a lot of this come in. You've had project costs. You couldn't return all the phone calls you had from people needing your assistance on building projects. As we've seen that slow down, how do we create recurring revenue that's predictable? And this business model allows you to do that by offering automation as a service. You have clients that are going to be paying X amount of money every single month, either in perpetuity or for as long as the contractual obligation that you have set forth with them. But we also have the flexibility, if you want to bill them a one-time fee, hey, I'm going to build this bot for you. I'm going to deliver this bot for you. It's going to cost you $10,000. And then I'm going to charge you, let's say 30%, which is industry average in SaaS for support. So I'm going to bill you, this monthly fee, or it's going to be $3,000 a year for this. I'll divide that by 12. You pay us that for support and service, or pay a one-time fee. We also have the liberty of going, hey, this fee the project cost us $10,000 for us to build, and licensing fees and whatnot, and then it's $3,000 for support. That's a $13,000 total for the year. If it makes it easier for your end user to procure, or if you would like to, you can build them on a monthly basis. One of the unique advantages or great advantages of this is that we all know a lot of organizations have procurement or purchasing power that fluctuates based on, or is independent based on whether they were spending from CapEx or OpEx. This allows you to cater this model to your client specifically. Hey, great. We want to do this automation project. We know it's going to cost $50,000. We can't do this out of OpEx, our capital expenditures. We cannot. I can't go get $50,000 from my leadership. Impossible. If you can break that down to 12 payments, I can spend $4,000 every single month. I have that budget control myself. I can spend $4,000 or $5,000 every month. I cannot spend $50,000 at one time. So having the business model flexibility, do you want to charge them a one-time fee, or do you want to break this up for 12 months so they can take this out of operating expenditures? You have the liberty to do that yourself. And as part of the engagement, we have a tool designed to show you that exactly. I actually ran through it quite a few times yesterday with potential our clients, our partners, and it makes a lot of sense, and it breaks that down. And I'm sure Tiago's probably got a webinar on how we do that one coming up soon, and how we deliver the ROI and how you can build that business model. So that's always a great one to watch out for, because the tool is quite robust in what it shows you, and how you want to decide these models. But again, that's the great advantage. Deliver it either way. We are agnostic to how you do that.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, moving right along. We have 3 more topics, guys, and then we'll take some questions at the end. Client education is the next one. So this is also important in the sense that we see that the biggest opportunity in the market today is in the SMB market, especially the mid market. And a lot of those folks out there still have a small understanding, a little understanding of what is automation and what automation can do for them. So this speaks a lot about how to educate the customer, the end customer at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And part of our tools and part of our business hub allows you to do that. We have pre-built sales decks, pre-built sales collateral that you can deliver to your clients. As well, I keep talking about the partnership engagement. And it doesn't just end when you say, hey, I'm going to be a partner. You work with your team of account executives here. You have access to me, who, as you can tell, I like to talk. So if you want me to come talk to your clients, we can do that. I have engaged with many end users to explore this and tell them, hey, this is what it looks like. But one of the greatest features that we offer, and this is fairly new for us. It's I think we've been doing this now since the beginning of the year. We actually allow you to deliver proof of concepts to your end users as well. Great. They think they want to use this, but prove it to me. Tiago, I love this. You've sold me the pie in the sky. I really want to automate, but you have to prove this for me. I cannot buy this until you prove it. Great. Part of the engagement or partnership model here at ElectroNeek, we allow you to deliver a proof of concept, free licenses to your end users to use for a term where we actually will work with your team hand in hand, teach them how to build the bot. You've built the bot for them. It executes. It runs for, say, 2 weeks. It proves the outcome to them. They've returned value. Bingo. Now instead of just telling them the benefits of the use case, we've now proven that. And this is the only provider I've ever worked at. I've been at 4 different hyper automation providers now. This is the only one that allowed free POCs to a secondary user. It's one thing to have POCs. I've actually worked in organizations where we charge for a proof of concept, even with those that we were directly engaging with, but I've never worked in an organization where we delivered POCs to a second tier as well, to your customers, to our customers, our partners, customers. So we do that here. And depending on your partner tier, you have so many of those that you can run a month, but you still get the support from our engineering team with them to show them how to build this. I'll show you how to build this for them and then deliver this to them to not only, like I said, to not only tell them, you actually get to show them, they get to experience what the benefits are of each use case they brought to you.
Perfect. All right. And that brings us to sales and marketing. So also what we've seen is that our most successful partners and customers, they do have a structured sales and marketing approach. What have you seen, Jason, in our clients in terms of structuring their sales and marketing, and how can we support them?
So look, I'll be highly transparent here. As someone that runs sales, my primary goal is to get people to see this vision, and we've been very successful in getting people to wrap their minds around this. I'll stop there and tell you that it takes work on your part. This is not some magic pill you're going to take and boom, all of a sudden money is falling in your lap. This requires some education and dedication to the actual marketing and sales component of this. You're not going to be successful with this if you don't nail this functionality right here. As Tiago knows, marketing is important to every organization. And as I know, sales is important to every organization. Our tools are built to help you with that. As I spoke to before, we have sales collateral. Part of your engagement model with us here, your customer success manager can help you build some of that stuff, as can your account executive. Hey, Jason, where do we get the numbers for this? How do we show someone some numbers? How do we position this in a market? We have all of those tools designed, pre-built for you as part of our business hub. Again, sales decks, sales collateral, any questions you may have, ROI calculators, we can provide all of that for you for your sales and marketing. Depending on your partnership tier or level with us, you even have the ability to white label this and go market this as your own product if you want to. But it does require some work and some effort in this capacity. But again, we have the tools designed for you, whether that's the pre-built sales decks, whether that's the sales collateral, that's the use cases that we already have and success stories available right now on our website. And then again, I point people back to our forum where we have open discussions on what's working, what's not working. I always suggest people attend to these because we will have one specific to how you do marketing, how you position the sales. But that's a lot of, we have become experts, for lack of a better term, in selling RPA or automation. Lean on our team, lean on your account executive, lean on your customer success, because they are tied to your success directly. And maybe a little too much information, they have a vested interest in you continuing and prospering in this interest. So they are there to work with you, and it's a mutually beneficial thing for them to actually give that effort and help your team position this marketing and sales wise.
Perfect. Awesome. And then last but not least, managing and monitoring RPA solutions. So this speaks a bit about supporting your RPA service business, once you've implemented, how you're going to structure yourself around giving support to your customers. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of this is we've spoken about the orchestrator as well, and for me, that is the most important component of managing and monitoring this. If we create good processes from the onset, and that's why you partner with ElectroNeek, because we help you in the onset of this. At the beginning of this, I've seen too many organizations embark on an automation journey, and they've not created the correct parameters. They've not built the processes right. Just as rapidly as this can do things, it can also it could also be problematic if correct parameters aren't placed on it. So that's why our orchestration layer is world-class. It rivals that of any of the big three automation providers and allows you to set parameters around, again, access, how we're going to allocate resources, which bots we're going to allocate to different users as well. Our partner tiers include bot protection, so you can not only monitor that bot, but you can protect that bot from someone taking it to say another vendor. And then our world-class support team here, always there for you, depending on your partner tier. That engagement level varies, but they are there for you in real time to help support any of this. If you need help, hey, I've got this problem. Can we break fix test this, or can you show me how to orchestrate this for the best security practices? Our team is there to support you on that mission.
All right.
Looks like we do have some questions, Thiago, as well. So.
Yeah. We do. Let's take a look here at the Q&A first. So identifying, so I'm going to read them out loud and then we can go ahead and answer them. Yeah. So identifying and evaluating opportunities. What about incomplete process? Sometimes our clients didn't know their own processes. Yeah. So I think the question is what about incomplete process? So I guess this is more like, how do I help the customer identifying the process that he needs to
well, so this is always a topic that I've seen quite a bit of, because when I first started in automation, we said, hey, there's no point in automating a broken process. I was a testament to that. That's what I touted everywhere. We don't want to automate broken processes. I've now taken a stance that's completely opposite from that. Let's look at your process. By automating it, we can actually see where the process is broken. Give us the process, walk us through how it works, and we will show you the breakdown, because automation breaks pretty easily. There's if the process isn't streamlined, if the process isn't effective, automation is going to have a halt. Now, the great thing about it being incomplete is we can automate part of the work. In a perfect world, we automate everything from start to finish, from A to Z. More often than not, that's not the case. Let's automate what we can of it, then work to perfect the process. Automate, if there are 10 stages in it, perhaps we automate 1 through 3. Human interacts, does 4, 5, and 6. We automate the rest. We may find through automation that we can automate that middle part as well. But don't be worried about, fearful of, hey, this is just a part of the process. They don't know the entire process. Let's automate which part of it we can. And in doing that, the reporting a lot of times will show us some inconsistencies in the process and help us correct those processes for our clients.
Awesome. All right. Next one here. It's about talent acquisition. So I'm interested on the growth and retain my professional fellows. I'm their boss. Is there any kind of career plan in order to increase the knowledge about RPA for my people?
So if you're asking for maybe like a learning track or something along those lines, we do have some education out there that we offer. We have some education tools to teach your team. And without promising future capability, we are working now to actually build that out a little bit more to where we can pass that down to clients. But now if you go, we have the ElectroNeek Academy that provides a learning path now for people to perfect their RPA skills. There are a number of courses out there, say on LinkedIn, if you want to look at a third-party source. But again, we do have the ElectroNeek Academy that as a partner you can get access to help you on this path of teaching your people, upskilling them to learn these things. Outside of us, there are numerous resources. If you type in RPA courses, I would guess 500,000 are going to pop up on Google. They're out there. But most important, like I said, is we have the ElectroNeek Academy for them to use. That way we can show you the progress they're making as well. And we're working, constantly taking feedback that we get from seminars like this or from our clients to make that even more involved and more robust.
All right, we're running a bit over time here, but we have 2 more questions. Let's see if we can answer these.
Yep.
Does the bot require admin privileges or just a normal account or something else?
Yeah, so with the bot runners installed on the end user system, that is dependent upon their protocols, how they have things. Now, keep in mind the bot is going to have any application it accesses, it's going to need a user login and a password, just like it does typically now. It's going to interact with that application the exact way a traditional worker works. If that application requires admin, then the bot would need admin privileges. More often than not, it does not. And that's one of the great things. Personally, one of the governance protocols I would set is more often than not giving them any sort of admin privileges, because typically these bots are assigned to a function or a department. This is accounting. Accounting has access to this software only. They complete this work. You would give that robot that same exact access. And I would typically not do it as an admin because more often than not, it does not need admin functions. It's not making any changes to the system. It's not requiring any overrides. It is given a password from an admin just as a traditional worker would be. So think of this robot as doing the exact same work that a human being does. And they work the exact same way. They get an email address, an inbox, work comes into that inbox. They automate that work based off of those things. But no, so does not require admin. It can use just a traditional account. A lot of times we also see them placed on service accounts, because that way, if it's on a service account, it can maybe move around, or you can add that service account can have all of its passwords. It doesn't, a lot of times a service account can circumvent their organizational policies because someone in accounting typically isn't going to get a password for, an application that's in supply chain or whatever it may be. They don't get those passwords. A lot of times by giving the bot access at a service account level, it circumvents those organizational policies.
All right. Sounds good. We have one here about POCs. Are POCs limited in functionality?
They are not. A POC with us allows full functionality, every single capacity, and full support. We're not giving you a trial, and you're not delivering a trial to your clients as well. This is a true proof of concept where you work hand in hand with our team. We have scheduled check-ins, and we do that when you engage your clients for a POC as well. This is not, hey, hand them a license, let them go drowned. This is a true proof of concept. You bring us the process. We're going to set some parameters in place. We want to see it do this. This is our measuring, key KPIs or key performance indicators. We want it to automate this much, this fast with this outcome. We're going to work with you to achieve that outcome, not just toss you with the license. And in doing that, you have full functionality and full support of our team, just as if you were a partner. And if you're already a partner, when you deliver those POCs to your clients, we offer that same exact support level to them.
Okay, we have another one here about business opportunity. So are we seeing more small businesses embracing RPA? And then by small business, meaning less than 15 employees.
Well, so I don't see that one. Hang on. What was it again?
It's in the Q&A.
Yeah. Okay, there.
If we're seeing more small business, like
yes.
adopting RPA.
Yes. That's the market probably primed for the most growth. If I'm looking at this from an MSP level, how am I going to monetize this best? As an MSP, even a large size MSP typically doesn't have the resources to compete against some of the big three RPA or automation providers. And that's where, they have most of the enterprise level clients taken over. The small and medium guys are the ones that really need this as a service. A case in point, as I spoke about earlier, my buddy has a real estate firm here in Austin. There are 10 people. We were able to automate his marketing, his outbound, his control of the MLS. If his client's looking for a house, the robot actually goes and looks at the MLS. Hey, there's a new listing here. Let me email it. Let me see if I can schedule that client as showing right now. It will then send a message to the buyer's agent and seller's agent to coordinate scheduling. But that's a very small business. And most of the small businesses are who need this the most. Again, if I can return 30% back to a massive company like Coca-Cola, great. What does that do? It makes their share price go up. A bunch of billionaires make more money. If I can return 30% back to my mom's childcare organization that she owns, that she's got 3 childcare workers. If I can return 30% back to her, my mom gets a new house. That's much, that's much more impactful for the people on the small and medium business level. It's much more, then that's, for me, that's again, one of the things that brought me here, is because I wanted those people to have the same benefits of automation that have done such great things for the Johnson & Johnsons, the Pfizers, the BNY Mellons that I've worked with, any of those big banking organizations. Yeah, cool. Rich people are getting richer. The small and medium business, automating that allows people like me to have, more free time or to capture more of their own revenue.
Yeah.
Go after the SMBs. They're embracing it. They want it. They just can't afford it yet. This business model allows them to.
Yeah. Ultimately, we are actually helping these small businesses to survive. Yeah. Businesses that would otherwise succumb to ever increasing operational costs can now have continue to operate. Yeah, due to the benefits that automation brings. So yeah, I mean, we've seen a big penetration of automation in the SMB market, and that's going to continue to grow significantly moving forward.
Yeah, so they need it most. That's who needs it most. That's who I would target, because again, offering it as a service, they don't have $50,000 to do a one-time fee. They may be going to pay you $1,000 a month for a robot that fits in their budget. That's who I would address, because for me, that's the biggest area for growth right now.
Absolutely. All right. We are running a little bit out of time here. We're actually over time already. We do have a couple more questions, but we'll get those answers to you guys by email. I just want to take one more minute here to say thank you so much for everybody that joined. Thank you so much for Jason for coming and speaking to us today. There's a QR code here on the screen. Go ahead and scan that QR code. Take a couple of seconds there to book a meeting with us today. Yeah. So Jason's team is standing by to book a meeting with you guys and let you know more on a one-to-one basis how we can support your business. Okay.
And everyone, feel free. Feel free to find me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. I'm Jason Connery. You'll see me in the notes for this or on the invitation. My name is there. Feel free to connect with me. Feel free to email me if you have questions that you want to ask at my level. Or, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. This is how I choose to engage. I can ensure that we put you with the right person on our team as well that's best catered to answer your questions and embark with this, this engagement with you and on this path with you. But please feel free. As you can tell, I'm quite passionate about this and the outcomes it drives for people. So feel free to connect with me, ask me whatever questions you have. I'm more than happy to hop on and help you with this process.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you.
And for everybody that joined, hope it was useful info. And we're standing by to talk to all of you on a one-to-one basis. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the ElectroNeek podcast.